as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic and in accordance with the Governor's Emergency Order Number 12, this public body is authorized to meet electronically. On February 8th, 2021, public notice of this meeting was posted on the town website and on the bulletin board at the town offices at 10 Front Street. As provided in that public notice, the public may access this meeting online or via phone. Please note that all votes taken during this meeting shall be done by roll call vote alphabetically by first name. Please let's start the meeting by taking roll call attendance. When each member states they're present, please also state whether there is anyone in the room with you during this meeting and who that person is, which is required under the right to know law. So we'll start with Amy.
Amy Farnham, I am alone in the room.
Cliff. Cliff is muted.
Gotta have that happen at least once per meeting. I'm Cliff Sinnott, and I'm alone in the room.
Lou.
Lou Hitzroth, and I'm alone in the room.
And we have several guests today. We'll start with Camille.
Camille Weber, and I am alone in the room.
And Betsy Stevens.
I'm Betsy Stevens, and I'm alone in the room.
All right, and I can't see if there's anybody else on my screen, but it looks like that was it. Okay, great. Well, thank you, everybody. Okay, before we start, or as we start, I'm going to share the screen and put up the visual agenda for the benefit of the people at home watching this on video. So this is what we're going to be talking about today at this February 10th meeting. We're going to talk about the solar array at the landfill. We're going to talk about community power aggregation, which is a bill that passed through the State House last October. We have a vote tonight on a student liaison, Camille. She's in the House. Yay, Camille. We're going to talk about the free webinars we've been doing online, Amy and her heat pumps. And then we're going to also talk about something new, a Green Minute, which is going to be a video project that we're doing for Earth Day / Earth Month. And then also on this slide, you can see we have a graphic going out for PR regarding the solar array at the landfill. And this is going around on Facebook, gives the information, how much money that we will make, how much carbon we will save, and that there's no negative tax impact to the taxpayers. Basically, you only make money. All right, so let me stop share. And here we go. Okay, so I sent last month's minutes out on the packet. Does anybody have any motion to approve or edit?
I move to approve the minutes.
Second.
Okay, great. We'll take a roll call, starting with Amy.
Aye.
Lou?
Aye.
Oh, Cliff?
Aye.
All right, sorry, went out of order. Okay, good. Thank you. So that's done. So first of all, we can talk about the student liaison position, which is why Camille is here. We've been working on this for a couple months. Last month, we drafted a charge, and we all looked at it and voted on it. We sent it over to the select board to take a look at it too. The town manager, Rustine, said he had passed it by the legal and it looked okay. So I guess today we're going to take a vote that this is what we want to do. So first we're going to vote on the charge as written. So can I have a vote, yes or no, whether you accept this charge? Amy?
Aye.
Okay. Cliff?
Aye.
Lou?
Aye.
Aye for me? Okay, great. And then also let's have a second vote. Shall we, or shall we not, put in Camille Weber into this position? Camille Weber is a student at the Exeter High School who has been asking for this position for several months now. Amy?
Can I do a double aye?
Okay, great. Cliff?
Definitely aye.
Okay, Lou?
Definitely aye.
Okay, and aye for me. So Camille, welcome aboard. Officially. Yay!
Thank you for your interest.
Yeah.
I also have a quick update. I have emailed the newspaper at my school, and I have the okay to do a monthly column.
Hey, great.
Oh, yay. All right.
Very good.
All right, she's already on it. Okay. I can talk to you about that, anytime you want, as to what kinds of things to put in it. So feel free to ask me or anybody. You can kind of interview us maybe one by one if we're leading a certain project that's interesting. I mean, right now we've got that graphic for the landfill, so that might be something that you could kind of start with. Okay. And then, actually, let me switch the agenda around a little bit. I know community choice is up next, but I'm going to switch it and talk about the Green Minute videos. So the Green Minute videos is a project that's coming about because each year for the past 3 years, as chair of the Energy Committee, I've written a letter to the editor on Earth Day, and it's always entitled like Green Snapshot of Exeter this Earth Day. And I fill in the year. And then I give the stats on, how many electric vehicles we have this year, if we switched over the LED streetlights, projects that we worked on, just to give the people a baseline of the progress that we've made from year to year. But this year, we have a sustainability committee and we have a facilities committee and we have, river and there's conservation, all kinds of committees. So I thought that it'd be better if we maybe made a very quick, a short video, like a 15-minute video where the chair of each committee gives like a bulleted list of things that they've been working on that are green for Exeter. So I spoke with Dave Sharples, and he is happy to head this up and have it be a project kind of the sustainability officer. So I'm going to be working on that with Dave. And so here's Camille's first assignment. That's what I'm leading up to. So Camille, how the video is going to go, there's going to be an intro. Dave, as sustainability officer, is going to introduce this video quickly and say, and the chairs of each department are going to talk to you about what they've been working on. Each chair will talk, and then you will be the closer. All right. If you want to do this, if you're comfortable, if you're not, just say it and I'll be the closer, but you can be the closer. And basically you just say, 20 seconds of, so that's what all the committees, something like this. So that's what all the committees have been doing. Thank you for watching. Thank you for working on these projects. That's it.
I think she should introduce herself too and say that she is the student liaison to the Energy Committee or something like that. So they know who she is. Exactly.
And Cliff?
Would it be appropriate for Camille to say something about some things going on at the high school that are, that are related to environment?
Yeah. So this is going to be great. So you're going to be a star, Camille. So I'll work with you on what you want to say or what we want to say. But I just want to let you know it's not like a huge long thing where you have to be paranoid. It's just a quick closing thing. If it takes you 30 seconds or if it takes you a minute, that's fine. Whatever you feel comfortable with.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay.
Renee?
Amy?
I really like what you were doing with the letter to the editor as well. I feel like there's a whole demographic in town that's just going to get their snapshot that way. I would be happy to take that over. If you want to focus on the video, I think it's really important to do both.
Sure. Okay, let me take a note on that.
Do you want to send me what you've done in the past and I'll kind of keep it consistent?
Yeah, sure. I have them in my files.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, great. I'll do that. Thank you. And the other thing about this is I thought it could be twice a year. So we'll do one in the spring for Earth Day, and that carries through the summer. And then in the fall, maybe at the end of September or October, when the committees are getting back together, do a fall snapshot of how, what they've done since then. Okay. So it's no pain and all gain. That's what I think. Okay, so we're going to move on to community choice power, and Cliff and Lou are going to talk about this for us.
I know. I'll start, Cliff, and then you can add in and correct what I've said. But I guess I'd start by saying we've run into a potential snag, a fairly significant one, and that is HB 315, which is going to come up before the legislature for a vote this Friday. Both Renee and I have written to the House committee on, what is it, energy, science, technology, and energy, opposing the bill. And Cliff has written a very good statement, which I think, Cliff, I hope that you can send that in. Since Renee and I have both sent in statements, I think you would have to send yours not from the committee or from Renee, but on your own. The problem with HB 315 is that it pretty much strips the original bill, RSA 53E, strips it of almost all of the potential for a community to take on its own projects that would fit the needs of the community, energy projects that would fit the needs of the community, things like demand side projects, metering and so forth, and leaving about the only thing that the community could do would be to work with an outside broker for the provision of power. So it also throws roadblocks in to even do that. We had a meeting with Henry Herndon and others on Monday, I think it was. And at the end of that meeting, I asked Henry and Cliff Below, who is sort of the point person on promoting community power. But I asked them what would be left for community power if, in fact, HB 315 passed. And they're both pretty pessimistic and saying that really there isn't much. And Cliff, I thought that Cliff Below basically kind of threw up his hands and said, man, I'd quit. That was the feeling that I got.
Yeah, he said he'd advise everybody to wait 2 years. Yeah. But
so where that leaves us, in our last meeting, we were talking about going to the select board with a request to okay or approve of the formation of a community power aggregation committee. I don't know about you, Cliff, but I think we've got to put that on hold until we find out what happens with HB 315.
Right. I mean, I think there still might be some value in going ahead with doing the electric aggregation plan.
Yes.
Just so that it's ready.
Right.
But on the other hand, the sense I get is that although it still would allow the core thing of electric aggregation to happen, and it would still be opt out and all of that, I get the sense that it would sort of undermine the vibrancy of the whole market-based approach and sort of prevent the economy of scale of not just aggregation, but also of providing other services like, meter upgrades and conservation program, tying it all together into one thing. Basically what the bill says is anything a community aggregation effort does has to go through the utility.
Right.
Rather than be independent of the utility. And that essentially, that's one of two poison pills, and the other one is that it subjects the town to, or the aggregation effort to PUC regulation. Mm-hmm. Whereas I think the bill as it stands now, or the law as it stands now, explicitly exempts local aggregation committees from that. So it's anyway, it's important that it at least be fixed, if not stopped.
Cliff, I'm wondering if you would like to testify when this thing is happening on Friday, if you're available for that.
I'm not. I'm working then, so I can't. It's 3:00, and I work till 6, so not going to work for me. But somebody else.
Can anyone here do that? I mean, Renee, can you do it?
I'm not well versed enough in it. Lou and Cliff have been working on the details of it, and it's very, very, very technical and PC. You know, there are like 17 working parts to it, so I would hesitate to do it.
Well, one of the things they told us, they emphasized at this meeting on Monday, was that not every person should go through the whole, A to Z, what's wrong with this bill, but rather take one or two things. And one thing that anybody from this committee could do is say how it's going to disrupt us, how we were trying to. We, like many other communities in the state, were taking this revision to the law that happened in 2019, and that was prompting a lot of positive action and activity, and this is going to just, sort of completely undercut it. I think anybody could that simple message,
Well, Lou, are you interested in doing that as being, the lead of this issue on our committee?
Well, I'm probably going to be in Maine. I'll probably be away. But okay. Amy, you said you'd be willing to do it?
I could, I think. What does Henry say about the odds of it actually passing? He thinks it's good?
There are, I think, 21 members of the committee, 11 Republicans, and 10 Democrats. And what needs to be done, I think, is to convince some of the Republicans that this is not a good bill. I also think that Henry, or maybe it was Madeline Manu, who said that we should emphasize things like how HB 315 removes local control and takes that out of the hands of the community.
And it's anti-competitive. That was another thing they said to emphasize.
I think it would be great if one of us could testify, but I think there are going to be a lot of articulate people opposed to this bill who are going to testify. So I think it's important that we all get online, get on the committee website, which you can do fairly easily, and state your opposition to the bill, and you can write a brief statement as to why you're opposed to it. That I think we all can do, or all should do, and it's easy to do. It has to be done fairly quickly, though.
Yeah, and there's a petition going around. I'm sure you've all signed that.
Yeah.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes.
I'm wondering. Are we allowed as a committee to put in letters or testimony, or is that something that has to be run by the selectmen? Or do you think we should, if we are allowed?
Well, I don't know. I have sent in the letter, and I have sent in letters in the past, and I've never asked the selectmen if I should do that. I just assume that this is the type of thing that we're working on, our projects we work on. We do have, Julie, select board rep on our committee, and Russ is often here, and so everybody's in. Okay.
No, I just wondered do you think it makes sense to write a letter that's coming from the committee as opposed to us individually? Is that also helpful in a larger way? I don't know.
It could be. I think it's a little bit too late at this point because we would all have to vote on the letter potentially, our meeting is right now, so I don't know. So
do we know anyone on that committee, the whatever committee is doing it?
No, I don't know.
No local folks.
One of the bad things is that the chairman of the committee is Michael Vose from Epping.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and he's the one who introduced the bill.
Yeah,
and one of the Democratic representatives in the committee also signed on to the bill.
The one from Portsmouth.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can I ask you, Sue, is the bill, is the whole point to protect utility companies, or what's the overall point of the bill? That's it.
Hard to know, but I think, yes, I think it's to allow utilities to maintain control over things that otherwise a community could do.
Yeah, so it just kind of muddles up everything that was already passed to make it kind of not really even viable or worth it, and thus it just keeps the status quo of the current utility companies in charge of everything. However, I do have some good news. My happy newspaper reading place is called Green Tech Media. Do you guys ever read Green Tech Media? Oh, happy. So today's lead article was about, 6 or 12 aggregators in Northern California that banded all together and have purchased the biggest clean energy product ever, like to date. Humongous. So it's a great article if you get a chance to read it. And the very last sentence of it says something like, and what this will do to the public utility companies, we don't know yet. So, it's true. If we do have to wait 2 years, maybe because this is happening in California right now, people will feel more comfortable with what happens, because maybe nothing is going to happen to PG&E. Maybe something does. I don't know, but it's other people are already doing this. That's what I'm trying to say. And it's not like you're going to be able to stop this train from reaching its destination in the ultimate destiny.
Now, it's really a shame they're not embracing it, because they will always have an important role, being the maintainers of the infrastructure. Yeah. They could take lead role in upgrading meters. They could do all sorts of things, that would get them their return like that they need. It's I don't get it.
I feel like maybe it just happened too fast for them, and they're just not ready for a transition like that. I mean, also they're probably thinking about electric car chargers and how they're going to work that into their business plan. And, there's just a lot of balls in the air. So, I mean, it would be a shame if we have to wait another 2 years, but if we do, we do.
Renee, before we leave the subject, Madeline Minot also mentioned HB 213, and I meant to read it last night, but I didn't get around to it. But she also said that this is a bill that we might want to oppose. So I was going to say, if you were on the site to look at HB 315 and oppose HB 315, look at HB 213 as well, and see what it's all about, and maybe we should oppose that as well.
All right. It's probably the net metering something.
Cliff, maybe you remember what it was about?
I don't. And I also did not go look at it.
I'm reading it right now. The summary says, relative to the elimination of useful thermal energy from renewable energy classes.
Oh, yeah, that's right. It's biomass, I think. Then there's also Senate Bill 93 or 91. I did look at that, and that's like this big omnibus bill that deals with probably almost half a dozen different things that are all going to be kind of bundled together. And one of them is aggregation, but it seems quite narrow. All it does with aggregation is determine what happens when there's an unpaid bill. It's very, very narrow. I thought it was, it would be more involved with that, but it also there's a net metering component. There's lots of different parts of it. And I guess it will get further elucidated or something. What we were told at the meeting on Monday is that,
for anybody who's for anybody who's interested at home, or anybody on this committee like Camille or Betsy, you can go to cleanenergynewhampshire.org, And on the very front of their website, a bar across the top with different things. If you look on, I think, policy, drops down to bills this session. And so you can look at every bill that is relevant to clean energy, and you can tell whether they oppose it or want to work, agree or disagree on the bill, or if they're neutral. And so I read the whole thing the other day, and there are just a lot of energy bills going down this time, and a lot of not good ones. So you can only do what you can do.
Mm-hmm.
And we still don't know where the PUC stands on so many of the regulations that pertain to community power. It'd be interesting to figure out how that's intertwined with HB 315.
So what is it? Cliff Belo said at the meeting that he suspects that they have just completely suspended their work on their rules until they know what happens with this.
Probably. Yeah.
They were supposed to be out with the next draft last month.
Did Henry give you guys any documents with talking points?
Yes.
So I could look at that.
Yeah, I'll pass them on to you.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Amy. Okay. Anything else on community choice?
It's kind of a bleak picture, but
I know. Wah, wah. All right. Well, we forge on. Okay. So we're going to go up to landfill solar. Dave Sharples could not be here because he had a meeting conflict, but Lou's going to talk about it a little bit. We went over to the deliberative session, double masked inside. There were probably about 20 people inside and 10 people outside. That was it for the audience. So
wait, when was this?
Saturday.
Gosh, how did they announce that?
It was really rushed, because they were trying to do something else. Yeah, I mean, they had to do it that day because all the other towns were doing it or something. But
right.
Anyway, so we ran over and we said our thing. And but go ahead, Lou.
Oh, I don't think there's much to say except that Dave Sharples made a good statement, and there were a couple of questions that he was able to answer quite easily. No one rose in opposition to it. There was a abutter who simply wanted to make sure that the town would make sure the surroundings would be attractive and appropriate and so forth. And I think it was Dave. I think Dave was the one who said, "Oh yes, that the select board and others in the town would have oversight on that." I thought it all went through fairly well. The concern, of course, is that while the select board did approve the warrant article unanimously, it does need a 3/5 vote by the public on March 9th to pass. It's not just a simple majority, it's a 3/5 vote. So we should all get out there and vote.
Why is it 3/5?
I think all the warrant articles are.
All the ones that have bonds.
Bonds. Yeah.
Okay.
That's always the case.
Are we voting in person in March?
Yes, I believe so.
Is there any other option?
Oh, I think you can get a absentee ballot. I'm pretty sure you can.
Okay.
I think so.
Well, we'll find out, and we'll make sure that we do PR on that. I've already created that graphic, which you saw, and that's going around on Facebook, and that's on our Energy Committee page and things like that. But as the date of voting gets closer, we need to step up the PR, letter to the editor, et cetera.
Yeah, can you send out that graphic so we can all share it in our own way?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
We're also happy to, Renee, I mentioned we could go over to the landfill or the transfer station rather.
Yeah, nice, Bob.
Oh, great idea.
We're going to be trying to do those for all the major warrant articles, like we have done in the past. And the communications committee is also doing kind of summaries. Obviously, as a town staff and stuff, we can't, say vote for this or no, don't vote for this, but we can give all the information and make the case, I guess.
Well, you can take pictures that make
the municipal bond interest rate as opposed to the one that was in the proposal. Right. And that changed the numbers quite a lot. And would be best to use those, I think.
All right. When we do the video or write our letters, we can say both. We can say this is what revision quoted. However, this is what the current bond rate is, and it would equal.
Right.
What is it? $400,000 less. I think that's what it would come out to be with the different percentage rates.
Right, and then that's just at 20 years, and then at the 40, it's even more, I think.
Cliff, where did you see that? I don't remember seeing that. Because I'd like to pull it up and see.
It was at that second selectmen's meeting.
Okay. Yeah, I remember it because I remember the dollar amount of $400,000. That's what the translation was. Yeah, so we'll get that information so we can all have it.
It was like 1.63%, I think.
1.67, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, we all talked out on the. Nope.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, 1.7.
1.67. Yeah, that's But
does that change your document, your graphic, Renee?
I don't think so.
Maybe not in a meaningful way.
Yeah, our document's so vague. Yeah.
Well, you have the 25-year figure, don't you, and that would change.
Well, I can take a look at it, but I don't think it's a huge change or anything. That's just one part of the document. But I'll take a look at it. We can take a look at it. Look at graphic. Okay. All right.
That's just a great project, though.
Yes.
I mean, the heck with community aggregation. We doing something meaningful right there.
Exactly.
Well, do we want to try to get the whole energy committee down at the landfill? Do like a dance or I don't know what, like make it fun. I don't know what, but
and record some TikTok videos about the
TikTok videos. That's it.
something to make it snazzy because the figure it's just so dry and boring, like on paper. But let's snazz it up a little. I don't know. We can talk about it. When I talk with Bob of when we can do this, we'll talk about it. Whoever wants to show up. We can do something. I don't know.
We can each hold a dollar sign and a numerical figure, like 43700 or something like that.
Or we could stand out on the landfill and just pretend we're solar panels, something like that.
All right, I sense some enthusiasm for it, so we'll see if we can't get that together. Okay. All right, great. All right, so wrapping up landfill solar. Any last comments?
Well, yeah, only that it's an interesting year, and I think it's important that we get a lot of turnout in favor of this bill. And I'm not sure how we do it, but we should talk to all our friends. I've already talked to a couple of people who hadn't a clue about any of this. And when you say to them, well, it's a win-win for the town. There's no tax impact. It's going to bring clean energy to the town. It's going to bring a significant amount of revenue to the town. They perk up their ears. So I think we need to get the word out as best we can so we get a lot of people to come and vote.
Could we get a reporter from the newsletter interested in it, maybe?
maybe he already did an article on it when we, there's one article out on it already, but maybe closer to March, we can get a second article.
Maybe he could go take a picture.
Mm-hmm.
Was it Alex?
Alex, yeah.
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 Well, I heard Ned talking about it in our company meeting. He piped up and said how excited he was about it and that it would be the largest in the state, which I didn't realize.
A landfill, right?
Yeah.
Landfill project, yeah.
Yeah. Because there's quite a few of them.
Can we write letters to the editor? Is that okay if you're on the committee to do that? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. So every way we can get it out, between the videos, the letters to the editor, and just simple word of mouth. Just simple word of mouth. Like sometimes what I do is I print out a smaller version of the graphic, like just a little handbill kind of thing, a small one, and I'll have them in my purse so that when I talk to somebody about it, then I can just hand this to them and they can tack it to their refrigerator and like helps them to remember. Because I don't know about you guys, but I can't remember anything unless it's written down. So I appreciate it when somebody passes me something that I don't have to try to remember. Okay. All right, so we're moving on to the heat pumps with Amy.
Yeah, we had a good turnout the other day. What was that, Saturday? I think we had maybe, how many people did we have, Renee?
I think it was eight this time, maybe, yeah, 6 or 8, maybe you and I were too, but.
Yeah, well, a better turnout anyway. Good discussion, good questions. I got quite a few emails afterwards about it, so I think it was good.
And this is kind of another thing where people have heard of it, but they don't really know what it is. And then when they hear about how great it is, how it saves you so much money and electricity, they just can't believe they haven't heard about it. So it's one of those things. And actually, that was something that I read. It was something in the climate plans of just something about really kicking up heat pumps. This was from the White House, really kicking up heat pumps because they're kind of like the hidden jewel that people aren't really talking about because they're not as flashy as a solar panel or a community aggregation. It's almost akin to like changing your light bulb in a way. So people are like, well, what does that do? But they're so efficient that it's kind of like the light bulb where it just the percentage of what you use is so drastically smaller that so you make a little investment ahead of time and you just go forward forever. So.
Yeah, and I think the way to hook a lot of people that aren't really tuned into energy efficiency and things like that is the AC aspect of them, because, everyone's got a source of heat in their home already, but a lot of people are still, messing around with AC window units and they hate them. And so this is really like the draw. So people can see these as, if that's the intro into people's homes is, basically whole house AC, then you get into the energy efficiency of it, why it might be better to heat that way, and then get into renewable energy to power it. So AC is sort of the gateway drug for heat pumps.
So Amy, this upcoming one on February, 17th?
Yep.
February 17th at 7 p.m. is the third one in our winter series. And I say that because maybe, it's been kind of an easy thing to do. Maybe we should try to do one every other month or something throughout the year to hit the air conditioning people and the forward like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. I think pretty soon we should start talking about AC because it's right around the corner.
Okay. All right. Continue.
Hey, where's that corner, Amy? I'm waiting for it.
Well, you have to wear your glasses, but it's there.
Okay, well, that's good if we continue that because part of our charge is education of the public. So this is kind of an ongoing thing. We used to do a lot of the button-ups and we can still do button-ups, but they're like once a year or every other year. They'll let your town do it. Like they won't let your town do it every year because they want other towns to be able to do it too. So I think this is kind of our own thing. Okay. All right. And I saw that a bunch of the people from that one wanted to email you afterwards to ask you further questions and things like that. So I think they were really engaged with what they heard.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah. Okay, so we're coming here to the other category of our agenda, which means we're almost wrapping up. And so we've had a person at our meeting here, Betsy Stevens. She's Elizabeth Stevens on the screen. She has applied for the Energy Committee. She has interviewed with the Select Board. I haven't heard back from the Select Board yet, probably because they were in the mire of deliberative session. So I am not sure that Betsy has been voted on or not, because what they do, Betsy, is they interview you, and then at the next Select Board meeting after that, they officially have to take a roll call vote in public. And I am not clear that they have done that yet. So I can't welcome you as an official member at this moment until I hear that. And I'm thinking no, because somebody usually sends me an email stating this.
I haven't heard anything either. So.
Yeah. So, but Betsy was here today to kind of get a leg up on the things that we're working on, and hopefully we will be welcoming her as a formal member at our next meeting, which is March 10th. Okay, so
welcome, Betsy.
Thank you.
Yeah. So actually, Betsy, maybe you want to introduce yourself to the committee members and the small amount of public that are watching here.
Okay, sure. Betsy Stevens. I'm a teacher at Phillips Exeter. Teach biology and environmental science. Spent some time as the sustainability education coordinator at Exeter. Lived in town for 20 years now. Always been very interested in environmental issues. What else can I tell you? That's pretty good.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, I'm really excited to be part of this group. I'm so excited that you put together this landfill solar project. That's fabulous. So, yeah, kudos to you all. I think it's amazing. And I'm going to definitely use my Exeter connections to spread the word about voting for it. So.
We have to be honest, though, and say that you really have to thank Dave Sharples, because he really was the one that put the solar project, the landfill project, on the map. And we all signed on to it. We were all excited about it, but he was the real power behind it.
And pretty quickly, too.
Is he on this committee, or what's his connection?
He has been, he sits in on our committee all the time. He had an overlap this time, but so he's not officially on the committee, but in a way, almost we kind of work for him, I guess, in a small way, or one of the people that we work for, and we support anything that he does. Like he was assigned sustainability officer maybe 6 months or a year ago or so, and we had looked at this solar project at the landfill a number of years ago when we first came on, but we decided to do the LED streetlights first because the timing was not quite right. But we did have James Hasselbeck in from Revision to talk about landfill solar, and we had community CDFMA, whatever that is, community development finance, to talk about how you would finance projects like this. So we have been slowly working on this solar thing, but when Dave came in, he was like, he just took it. He said, "This is the one we're doing," and he's just doing it. So
he's the town planner, Betsy. He's official of the town.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's working 40 hours, not just on sustainability, but he's in there and he's connected with everybody, and he's been in that position for a number of years. And the sustainability officer has just added on to his duties recently. So he was actually a sustainability officer in the town he was previous to his job here, maybe 6-10 years ago. So he has experience in it already. And he's already done projects in other towns like this, and he was just ready to go.
That's great.
Yeah. So we shot out of the gate with this thing. So, maybe if we get the solar thing going, then, and if the community aggregation has a pause, maybe the timing will work out that Dave can kind of head it up with us when we try to get this aggregation committee of 7 or whatever together. Maybe he'll have time to be on that if he's not knee deep in this solar project. It's just another issue of timing. But let's hope that for somehow this HB 315 or whatever gets tabled. We never hear about it again. Yeah. Okay, any other last minute things?
No.
Could you email me the flyer about the solar project?
Yes, I will. Okay. Graphic to all. Oh, and I'd like to say I sent an email to our former member, Brianna Brand. She moved to, I think, Wisconsin. She's still working remotely for Clean Energy New Hampshire because everybody's working remotely, so she didn't really have to change her job. I did touch base with her on the electric car charging, the corridor thing, because she would go to the State House and witness and advocate for it. That was her actual job, and she was assigned to the electric vehicles. And she said it basically just got kind of blown out of the water, the whole thing, because of COVID, because all the legislators are working on COVID and COVID-related things. So the EV charging is just totally in limbo. That Volkswagen money is just sitting there in the State House of New Hampshire, and someday we might get back to focusing on it. But right now it's kind of on limbo. What we were trying to do on that, Betsy, is the Volkswagen money from the diesel thing is in the state. Some states have already spent it. Ours hasn't spent it. They were trying to figure out how to allocate it. And what they wanted to do is put level 3 charging stations on highway off-ramps. So two vendors came into town. I don't remember exactly who, like EVgo and ChargePoint or something. And they looked at the Hannaford parking lot right off the highway across from McDonald's. That light, their sign at the corner of their parking lot has electricity there. It's got the right voltage. It's like a thing. So potentially, I mean, these would be sealed bids, so I don't know if they picked us or not, or if maybe they picked Epping. I don't know. But we were in the running anyway, but then it just all fell apart with COVID.
Well, maybe that'll change soon, hopefully.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe. I see there's not just with the Volkswagen money, but other stimulus-y type things coming through on the new administration's giant climate agenda.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay.
On that happy note.
Yeah, we'll end on that happy note, and I'll watch on Friday and see what happens with aggregation. All right. Well, thank you, everybody, and thank you, everybody at home watching. Wait a minute. We have to have a motion to adjourn. I wasn't sure. Betsy, were you putting your hand up or waving goodbye?
I was just waving goodbye. Sorry.
Okay. All right.
Motion to adjourn.
Okay. There we go.